Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's career webinar. My name is Steve Rogers, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. Thank you for attending. We hope you find this very valuable. First, there's a couple administrative items. Since this is a webinar format of presentation, all attendees will be on mute with no camera. Also, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen to type in your questions, and they will be addressed during or at the end of the webinar. Also, this presentation will be recorded and available to members in our past events area of the website after you log in. Also, please continue to look at the website for many of our upcoming events, as we have really increased the content available online during this unusual time. We also send out weekly emails of all of our upcoming events. Now on to today's event. To start things off, we will have a couple quick survey polls just to get a sense of where everyone is on their career paths, and we'll review those as we do the introduction. For many people, especially these days, career management is even more important than other times. So this is the first of a few series of modules that we will be running over the next few months, focusing just on career development. Thank you for everyone for submitting your questions at the time of registration. We got a lot of responses. The most popular topics were clearly on career tips, ways to manage your career, also followed by trend. What are the major trends in today's market? And then what types of skills are going to be needed going forward in the future? We also got a few questions from people not necessarily looking for a new job, but how to better position themselves for internal promotions. Then we got several other interesting questions that we will try to get through either during the presentation or afterwards. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today. We were very fortunate to have Susanne Achermann. She is a very experienced HR professional who will share her 360-degree talent management expertise to help further shape your career. With over 20 years of experience in executive search, recruiting and sourcing, internal mobility, and talent management, she will be able to give you valuable insights and tips to consider on the next steps of your career planning. Susanne, thank you so much for sharing your expertise today. And we'll now turn the screen over to you.
Fine. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So I'm very pleased having the opportunity talking to you today. Like shaping the career in the current Corona situation is probably not the easiest topic right now. However, there's some thoughts, some tips, some tricks I'd like to share with you, so you will be in the pole position when the market turns up again. And thank you for all the questions you handed in. Most of them I can't cover during the webinar, but some are very, very comprehensive and very trustworthy as well. So I offer you get in touch with me later on, either this afternoon or once you ever have the time. I'm available by LinkedIn, I'm available by mobile, and by email. You will see all my coordinates at the end of this webinar. But one fact I like to address straight at the beginning: whenever we think about or talk about a career, most of us, we think, okay, it's a straightforward career. But in fact, most careers never are from one point to the other. They do have very big obstacles. They have even breaks, as some of you has as well. You need to overcome major hurdles. So what I recommend is to have a long-term vision on your professional career, but always combined also with your personal environment. So such a plan can help you to navigate through thunderstorms. And one thing is also very helpful, and this is the last question who has been handed in today, is why should we have a company or a person next to us during a career transition? Is try to prepare your career transition in a calm weather situation. Try to precisely aim a target and have a sparring partner. have a sparring partner, as we have also here on this picture. It's easier. You will have ups and downs in your career, even you have on the lucky side and you always have a new job or a new challenge. But having a sparring partner is just something which is very great. Okay, so Stephen, you introduced me already properly, so thank you very much. I just want to add that over my 20 years of professional career, I shaped the career, nevertheless, about over 1,500 professionals. There are, from the beginning of the career, there are top senior MDs who had to leave a position. These were even for the government in Switzerland or from multinationals. So no one should hesitate to ask any questions. Top talents or beginners, you all have similar questions. You just stand in another place on your career ladder. And today, I'm coaching with my own firm, Heuer Atelier, or with my partners at Medder and Partner. A lot of people who look for challenging new internal and external opportunities, and this was also one question has been handed in. What can I do if I want to move on internally and not absolutely looking externally for a new job? So it will touch this topic later on. Yes, definitely job loss is one big topic in the current situation. There we have the new placement process or the outplacement process. So we guide people through this tremendous accident sometimes in a career, but we also prepare for, or I prepare for promotion, so internal promotion, for strategic interview training if you go through assessment. This is also what is very important if you want to shape your career. Take also someone for the next internal step. Then some have longer career break. This is also within this audience after an illness, a burnout, a family time. So it's good to have a sparring partner during that time. It can be a friend, it can be a professional, but this is sometimes not that easy to re-enter in a position. But companies like Schindler, like Credit Suisse, they have real returner programs. And whoever is familiar with the market can help you together with the HSG as well, who has a deep program over there. Like career shift, some of you ask questions at there as well. So there can be career shift in reduction of a percentage. Someone want to work a bit less, probably because of family reason. You also sometimes have too much of responsibility and you want to step back. This can be very delicate as well. Relocation, coming from Hong Kong back, from Singapore back, or just a new orientation. A new orientation in this moment is not the easiest, I tell you, because they really, if the positions are published, they look for top professional. So new orientation right now takes a bit longer. And we definitely also coach, or I coach, on internal leadership in different stages of your career, especially when you first have a leadership role. There are some tips and tricks there as well. Whenever we start with someone, whenever you start thinking about your career, there are really some starting questions you have to ask. And this is very important at the beginning of the journey. Why do you like to move on in your career? Is it for compensation? Is it for recognition? Is it for having a broader working portfolio? This is just a very important to start at the beginning. Also with your long-term plan. The career is not by months and months and months. In the Corona time, we're really sticking back to short periods, but please try to think in longer terms. Your life is like a marathon, 42 kilometers, and you need to have the same energy at the beginning as at the end as well. What do you expect for moving on is a really relative, really important question, and also how you will measure your personal achievements. And then here we have something is, whenever you make a next step, that can be in changing a company, changing a department, always think of what do you leave behind. You have gained experience, you have gained a network. What will you leave behind when you go into the next position? Who can support you on your career goals, and who can even accelerate? So this is very important questions at the beginning, as well as the big journey starts with small steps. And here one really important step is that be aware that your thoughts will determine your path, especially if you're in a big company. I say also sometimes with the company I was with Credit Suisse, some people are not happy, but they share it. Don't share it. Really think, what could you do better? If you say, okay, I want to step out or whatever, your thoughts will determine your action. You will be not addressed for a next important project or an interesting project. Really keep it as secret for you. Discuss it with your family and not with your colleagues. Check if the timing for a next step is ideal. Don't overload yourself. Very often people want to go too fast. Really be realistic on your current timing, on your current resources. And also, one of the biggest advice I'll give to you, don't step out when you have open commitments or when you have open projects. Always try to finish something, and then probably in the smooth out phase, you can already think at the next step, sometimes in parallel, but don't overload you. There you have burnouts, there you have struggles. And the working time is still long enough. And also, yeah, don't fly. If you have problems somewhere, really try to communicate with your current environment. You have like a credibility already there. You have been there for a long time. A flight is also there. You're also struggling at the new place. So really fight for a good leave, fight for a good next project, fight for yourself in a current situation, and not just fly for something, because yeah, you always have to struggle when you're in a new place. You're the last one who joined, and there it will not be easier. What we concentrate on now is during this time is we always start with the self-assessment. So a lot of you ask me, okay, what is the strategy on when you want to shape your career? Be honest about your self-assessment. Like everywhere, a goal-setting tool is very important for you, and then realize the gaps and the training needs. But if you have that one, self-assessment, goal-setting, and gap analysis and training, the rest is much easier, and you will be ready to discuss with a headhunter, with a line manager, with the talent development department. This is the task you have to do, and we can do that on a strategic way. And then the onboarding is the end. So we start with the questions of the self-assessment right now. And here everyone stands what I saw on another level. So we have people 15 years in the current position or in the market, then some just for 0 to 5 years. So here with a sparring partner or with yourself, what is your experience? And here we talk about personal talents, skills, what is really on your personal talents still relevant for your current job. What kind of professional skills do you have? This is what you could learn, what would you have learned. It is important that you evaluate that in a proper way. So I do have matrices available where you can then really make a good scaling, and this helps you also at the end to really put together your CV, to put together your elevator pitch or your unique selling proposition. Be honest on what is energizing you, what makes you happy, what drains you down. And here one question very often got forgotten. Do I prefer to be a specialist, or do I really want to become a team leader or even a manager? Do I like to work or I prefer to work on my own, or I really always need to have a team around? So this nearly nowhere stands, but I think this is very important for you to ask you that question at the beginning, especially if you're being promoted from a specialist into a manager role or in a team leader role. Then also, do you have a long-term calling in your life? Calling in your life. What are your values? I've seen we have here also people a bit more advanced in their career, And the values, your personal values and the cultural fit becomes more and more relevant on the way of your career. At the beginning, probably you're really eager by skills, by proving yourself, but later on in your career, those values need to fit to your company, to your boss, to your team, to yourself. So this is what do I appreciate in my current role, in my current company. Be honest also at that. You always leave something behind. You still have now influence. You have a great team. You have a great company, sometimes with a very good reputation. You have trainings offered. You have fringe benefits offered. So when you step out of a big company, and a lot of say, okay, I want to go to a smaller company, but the offers will sometimes not be as granted as you are used to from a bigger environment, especially in the financial service environment. Okay, so the brainstorming questions, that is what you can do on your own. You do it mostly, but with a colleague, from the student side, from colleagues probably in your office, on the brainstorming session. Always positive thinking as, okay, what kind of obstacles might hold me back, to really think great. And here I really encourage you, be brave. If you think about your goal setting, be brave. If you really want to become a manager, be honest. Have a look at those closely. Put it into a bracket, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, what step by step you should do. And if you really also see, I want to become once a CEO of a smaller or a bigger company, write down your plan. You will not become a CEO just like that, but it can also be a marketing manager, or by you, it can be an investment manager. Yes, here probably at the beginning, what is my experience also at the beginning of my career? I started in investment management of Credit Suisse. I did all the CFA recruitment together with Patrick Frost, the current CEO of the Swiss Life. So here I got in very close touch with your profile. You're brilliant analytical people. And here you will also define yourself going into joint venture, in venture capital and investment management, but this is really then defined on your individual situation, because some they really want to go in other directions. Here you have to be careful, but visualize your plan, visualize your goal. This will help you along the way. Then the gap analysis, what you do all the time, and here we have training and development will be one of the next steps. Consult seasoned professional that can help you all the time. Ask those for advice. How did you get there? What would you recommend me? Sometimes we have new profiles which even doesn't exist, but probably in your environment, digital investment, data analytics, chief investment officers, you have you have certain job profiles already ready. Go and grab those. Have a look what is needed. Go and have a look on their LinkedIn profiles. If you have just a benchmark, you say, I want to become like that and that one, even though I always suggest stay your own. Rate qualifications and search for new trends. In the investment CFA department, I saw also on your, Steve, on your CFA global web page, you do have trends, you do have recommendations. So here you have already a huge know-how on trends, because the market is moving so fast. So nobody from Van Rundstedt or Matter & Partner, or sometimes even an executive search company, can give you the latest advices. Here you are the professionals, you can develop the trends. Identify your gaps, your patterns, and your further development. This is also individual. Someone to make the management career, someone to the specialist career, someone to make the international career, someone want to be independent on investment. And here there's difference need based on your long-term objective. Evaluate different trainings, create your education plan, and consider options. Consider options to achieve your qualifications. Not all courses are ready right now. Some are also very expensive, and you say, I do it a little bit later on in my career. So this is up to you, but try to be as honest to yourself as well. do a reality check. Do I have the financial resources to do it right now? Do I have the time resources right now? Be honest and start with the plan, and then you will come in action a bit later on. So the action plan, we have here like the SMART methodology works as well. So be very specific and the right timing, but always work goal-oriented. And goal-oriented, for example, also with different options. What is my major goal? What kind of sub-goals do I have? So that you can make achievements in 6 months' time, 1 year time, 2 years' time, and you can make a tick that always helps you and is also a bit a funny way to do it. Activate, and this is very important, we come on this one later on, activate your stakeholder. Make a stakeholder mapping, activate your professional and your personal network, and do that activation right now when you're in a quiet water. When you once lost a job and start with your network, it's probably more embarrassing. It can be a card just for a birthday. It can be saying, hey, I saw you have been promoted. We catch up there. Do you have time for a coffee meeting, whatever? Or also in this time, just give once a call. Very often, everyone sits just in front of the screen the whole day. So it's pleasant to have a call, go for a walk individually. This is still possible. Talk to your boss, what he can suggest you, to your colleagues, what are they looking at right now, to former teachers as well, to professors. This is a very, very good pool also for new trends and for references. And often they get also, they have a huge network and they see trends in the market and say, hey, listen, you have been a student of mine. Yes, I might connect you with this and this person. Engage, we have here candidates or persons from huge companies that do have an internal development program. Read that through. It will not just fly to you. You need actively to ask for or to engage you in your internal development process. In smaller companies, yes, it's not that easy. So there are like Weiterbildungen.ch. You have you have different career platforms where you can get help from, or from professional association, or like CFA is one. Whenever you do a move, when you want to move abroad, when you do want to invest in a big education, additional education, get the support from your family, the background. You can also be concentrated on a job move when you really have the backup. I very often have like couples both want to do everything at the same time, and at the third they still have kids. So make a line for you, for your family, for whoever is in a transformation process. Just not do everything in one moment. And here, especially you all in the financial market, or most of you in the financial market, check the timing. It's not an ideal moment to quit right now. So you know your market, you know your cycles, and be careful about that one. But that means also like jobs will come up in normal time. I mean, now we have the Corona situation, but in normal time, like this is exactly a good moment to be in the pole position, because the position comes in mid-February, March, April is a period in the year where a lot of positions come up on the market. Yes, and a lot asked about executive search firms. I added here a list, and what Steve told me also, this is the beginning model of like shaping your career. You will have a professional from an executive search company in March, starting with a webinar from Michael Page, which is really professional in the financial market. But here you will have a list, the slides will be handed to you afterwards. And definitely my advice, always execute step by step. Here on the job market, and this is very important, and now I want to get back to Sabine with the question. What do you think is the percentage of the jobs in the hidden market? Okay, more than 40% is the hidden job market, and yes, I can close it. I can close it even. Yeah, okay. The hidden market is the huge job market. And it becomes even a bigger job market right now, because what happens if a company is, a company publish the job on the web, they get hundreds and hundreds of applications. So they really start now to recruit through their pipelines, through their network, and even job agencies now. Sometimes we have them on the hidden market because they just send the application to a job agency, and they make already the pre-qualification. Otherwise, just recruiting departments in the companies are completely overloaded. Some of you asked me to explain a bit more about the process of a recruiter internally. Yes, an internal recruiter has about between 40 to 70 positions in a big company to hand in the same time, and it's really a machine. So we have to try to make it in the entire process for each to as simple as possible to read through your resume. And personal recommendations is just the way which makes most fun within the recruiting process. You have credibilities. If you've been recommended to someone. Here we have also the spontaneous application, goes also to the hidden market. Some asked me, how can I find a job now when nothing is posted? Here we will come on the next slide to a really detailed strategy how you can work on your career path. The social network, definitely, it's on LinkedIn, it's on Xing, it's on Facebook for younger generation. Here, this is just a social network. A lot of companies, the big companies, UBS does it, Credit Suisse does it, they have internal pipelines. And so whenever you are once applied in, you are in their systems, and then they can go with a Boolean search through those databases, and then can find you as well again. Like recruitment agencies, we also call them a little bit on the hidden market, because very often the companies just send over there. Even they have high costs, but the interaction is very professional, very hands-on, and very fast. Therefore, it's still a way to go. But you see very often on the open market that, for example, especially in the pharmaceutical market, and I saw a couple of you in the pharmaceutical market as well, they always say no CVs from providers, because people who come on the direct way, they show more energy, they show more they're more driven, and need less advice themselves. Okay, and here for me this is one, there were a couple of questions on how I make my career in a systematic way. I turned that page around, so when we do the headhunting, we went the other way around and said, okay, where do we grab candidates from? And here I made something special for candidates in an outplacement, new placement position situation. I said, okay, we do exactly the other way around. And that can be also for people like you who are just still have a job or want to develop. It is, be honest on the market. In the industry, financial market is a market which has, you are used to travel, distance is not a problem for you. If someone is in an industrial market, they say, okay, 5 minutes. Ooh, it's already a long trip. I'm really moved to the company where I live there where my company is. From the financial, it's different. But be honest on your geographical scope. Be honest on the companies you want to look for. Needs the headquarters to be in the Zurich area or in a German-speaking part, or do you want to work for Lombardier, for example, with a headquarters in the Geneva area, or even for AXA, who is in France? Be honest. This is a combination, both of you. The level. Do I want to be a manager? Do I want to be a top talent, a managing director even? What is the seniority level I want to? Just write it down and be honest. And the percentage as well. Do I want to work 50%, 80%, 100%? And then it's easier to grab your network. The network either in this company, the network either in this region, or the network even some peers or someone who has this position and has this level. People, if you ask me, what can I do internally to move on? Go and grab you one of an MD, a director, who you're proud of. You say, okay, you are a role model. Give this person a call, send that person an email. I estimate or I judge you as a role model. Can we have once a drink together? I want to know how you got into this position. Be brave here. Then if you have a company list, you have also open positions there. Right now, there are not so many positions open, but you find on the mostly if you find also if you don't see any position open right now, just send us your application as well, or send an email, or you find a person out from the recruiting department or whatever, and contact this person via LinkedIn. Say, hey, listen, I saw you have this and this and this. Write a short notice. Be always very polite, but you can be straightforward. It needs to be, you need to be brave, but people then always are a little bit, you say, okay, they're a bit happy. Someone contacted me. They are really they like to help in general. Then the way of contact. I noted down here a couple of options. Spontaneous application is not for everyone, but here either in a written way, by a phone, on a football match, ice hockey match, or whatever. Whenever you get in contact with someone, always think, can this person be helpful for me and for my career? If you want to go into a very precise direction, look for a door opener. Now, unfortunately, trade fairs are not given, but I just saw in the IT investment environment, in the digital environment, there are summits, there are talent summits, there are a lot of webinars right now. You see sometimes the participants ask for the participants list, pick you out a person which might be interesting for you, connect with this person afterwards. This can help you for your career. And here I put something on this in the timing. When you are still have a position, be careful about your timing. Put everything in a role. Looking for something new is time consuming. Probably you have the feeling, I need to do a move, but very often that happens in 2 or 3 years' time. It's different for someone who lost the job and knows, okay, I'm on the payment list for another 3 months or for 6 months. Then I have probably a lump sum I got at the end before I have to go to the rough. Therefore, definitely you have more pressure. But never start with the most valuable contact straight at the beginning. Make your line, prioritize. But whatever it is, which is when you get something for the network, or when you're in a new orientation environment, it can be fun. See it as a challenging situation which you don't have too often in your life. Therefore, going through your network is more fun and it's definitely a higher success rate. It's also, if you can step in a company where you have a network already, I say normally you should be transparent of whatever you do. Also, the recruiting should be very transparent and very, unconscious bias thrown away, the credibility, but you have some advanced credibilities because you have someone who gave a reference. And what we had as well, that's what when the time Credit Suisse made a lot of surveys, and it's also a higher success rate. If someone has been hired through the network of someone, the success rate of being there in 2 years' time is higher than if it's someone who just comes completely without network. Because, and especially also now in the COVID time, the onboarding, and this is some trend, the onboarding is very difficult. Getting a new network in is very difficult. So here, if you can bring a network already in your new situation, it helps. But what is key to be successful at the end is to have a systematic network, a systematic plan. That can be a systematic network plan, that can be a systematic timing plan, and then sometimes also if you get, it's a bit frustrating, backslashes, yeah, you can just stick to your plan and say, hey, ups and downs and ups and downs. That's just normal. Okay. And here, when we come then definitely to one point, this is the application process. I say very often the application process is very easy when you have done a good homework at the beginning. The CV put together is definitely, yeah, here we are. Anglo-Saxons say no pictures. Switzerland, we still have picture. We still say OKG and I and unconscious bias, whatever. But normally, do what you feel is relevant and where you feel happy with. Here's no just definite rule. It's just that the personal data need to be in there. And here very often, what do we do if someone has date of birth 60 or 65 or 70? I'm 50 as well. So should we show that we are 50 already? Yeah, you can show it at the end. Yeah, it will be stay to your age, even you're a bit older. The younger, they do not have a problem, but the machines, yeah, they don't eliminate you by age. So I say you can put it on the CV as well. Then you always have an executive summary at the beginning of your CV, which can also then be the elevator pitch or the USP on your CV. You have tried to do the relevant information. I don't go into many details because there are so many examples of CVs on the system. I say don't use one of the generators because you then cannot just transfer it in another color, in another chronologically. They always ask for money. There are on Word, on Adobe, you find examples. And then also one of your colleagues told me that I really should precise it again, not CVs with 10 pages. Try to make it short, try to make it probably with the LinkedIn information, but keep it short, keep it precise. You have all the work certificates as well you're sending with, but you have a little bit an intro, executive summary, a profile, and then chronologically 2 to 3 pages on your experience. Always have a cover letter. And here, opinions go that way. Some say we never have a look on a cover letter. For me, I say I always read carefully through the cover letters because it gives me just some hints why someone wants to move in this industry, why someone wants to move into this position. I can there see that he has already some contacts. So I have a look personally on the reference letter. Some of my colleagues, they just have a look at the CV. So opinions go into different directions. But definitely here, I just recruited a CEO and a board position recently. And I got one then with emails, each certificate as one PDF, not named. I nearly got a nightmare. So put everything really clearly, how you say, with a clear, if it's the CV or the certificate in one document, a proper naming, and not something with a date 2018 or 2019. It's year to date. This is just the impression you get, and have always a CV ready. Here, for example, I just recruited a CEO position for like the Leiterei Bergbahn. I got a very good, I mean, it's crazy what he did. He really did a movie. He sent me a card or by post, even an envelope with a card like a ski ticket. But when I want to call him up, he had another voicemail. The email, he didn't respond, so I don't know what happened. So that's a shame. Use really your energy, what is like focus, what is typical for your industry, and always with a result. If you never get a feedback from when you really send something there, call also. And here we come to the process, then interviewing process. And this is a bit different now in COVID time. Definitely this stays the same. A recruiter or even the line manager, they will always make a piling A, B, C. A, B, and C never will go through the channel. You really only be on the market if you have an A candidature. And if there are 100 for example, I had for the CEO about 90, and finally we had about 14 interviews. So you really have to make sure you come to A. And therefore I give you an advice. If you say, okay, I'm just doing an additional application because I have to apply, okay, you know, you will not get a response. It really needs to be passion, spirit, and you have to explain why you want to have this position, why you want to move to this company. This is important. And then it's like, first of all, the big companies are different from smaller. Smaller, they just call you and will invite you directly now to a Zoom conference or even to a meeting. With small companies, big companies, they do have a straightforward process. You will get either an online assessment at the beginning, or you will get a video on demand, which we call the higher view, which we implemented at Credit Suisse at that time. Migros does have it. UBS, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of companies, Google anyhow, they do have this video on demand. That means you get 3-4 questions, you have to answer them properly and hand them in, and the recruiter can have a look at them at the moment where is convenient for the recruiter. Then you have to face-to-face interview or even a call. And here very often what I realize is in smaller companies, yes, I call this candidate up and then he's absolutely surprised that I ask already a lot of questions at the beginning. But this is a pre-screening, so I'll take me 20 minutes time. I know everything about the compensation, about motivation, about the timing, about his perspectives. So don't underestimate the first call. If you see a number and you have an inconvenient moment, let it go to your voicemail. Don't answer it directly. Or if it's a really inconvenient moment, say, hey, listen, it's an inconvenient moment, can I call you back? Then in the interview process, also one of the next steps is either a business case or assessment. And here also, when you work with a partner during a transformation process, they do have classes and they have trainings on assessment, on business cases. They prepare it individually with you. And here, this is also sometimes the success rate, or yeah, I say 95% of my candidates or my clients, they will find the position they absolutely look for, and they all come back at the end and say, hey, preparation of business case, preparation of interview, preparation of onboarding questions already at that step here was the key. That's how I was better prepared than even the line manager, and probably better prepared than my competitors. And this is really very, very important. Have always reference checkers already in mind. It can go at the end very quick. Exactly. And here just recently, it was in December, I had an IT candidate, and unfortunately he had a little accident with a little alcohol. Okay, the background screening was definitely covering it. So it's always worth to address such topics at the beginning, because you know in the financial environment, they will all ask you precise questions, and they definitely have the Strafregisterauszug, and everything is written there. You sometimes get a job offer, but if you have like with a promotion in your contract already, sometimes you just will get a letter of intent until they have the result of the assessment. So this is the entire process, but always think after the onboarding, or even the onboarding, the 3 months, the 6 months, this is exactly the same important topic of a career transition than the start at the beginning, because a good onboarding is the key for a successful career in your new position. And this is, yes, the selection process should be, how you say, the same to everyone, but unfortunately, not every one of you has exactly the same background, the same mobility or whatever. So here it goes nearly a bit too fast or too further away. And when you now read also all the digital database analytics and analytics, sometimes we have to go back to normal human thinking. And here with doing a good process, being well prepared, stay yourself, be unique, be authentic is sometimes or very often a better key element in your process than all the data analytics. And that's actually already what I come to the end of the prepared presentation. I don't have the timing right now, so Stephen, I hope you can step in again. But this was the overview I wanted to give you at the beginning. And now we really can cover all the questions you have prepared. We still have 10 minutes left, or even a bit more. And Stephen, I hand it over to you, because with the skills, this was one topic people were asking me as well. And here it comes really to the HR world. And we don't know.
I can jump in. Thank you very much for all that information. I think that was a lot of information in a short period of time. And just as a reminder to everyone that we are recording the session, so you can go back and review all of these important strategies and tips on your own. We have gotten a couple questions coming in the Q&A function. I noticed a couple people have their hands raised, but you really need to answer or ask questions through the Q&A function. So one of the questions we have here is, if someone's already out of a job and actively looking for a new one, what would you advise on the open to work label on LinkedIn?
Okay.
Is it good to make it visible, or is it detrimental? What's your recommendation?
Okay, you find it more and more. I say it's a bit of the typologically. If a person is present in the social network, he can show it. And really, it helps the recruiter who is actively looking for someone. It helps because he need to do research, and he can send it immediately. And for the time being, tons of people are out of the job. Tons of people are looking. So you are brave if you show it. Personally, I wouldn't do it for myself because I'm probably a bit too modest. But colleagues are doing it, and you see it now also the other way around. It is the same label for companies who are recruiting actively. So it's just try it out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have another question here. How easy is it to shift industry when you're at an early stage of your career, say less than 5 years? Should I look for a more junior position or gain more experience and then aim for a more senior role in the other industry?
Okay, here if you have your thinking already into one direction, you say, very often they say, okay, here, this is not exactly what I was looking for. I expected another way to go with the studies I've done. So in that time, and when you don't need the money straight away, really take your back and think, okay, what is what I expected and where do I want to go? And probably here you have to shift rather soon, start with the new education, because very often when you then needed to do an additional education, you need experience in that one also. And at the beginning, there's not very often that you can make inscriptions of Aufnahme sur Dossier because you don't have the experience already. At a later stage, they will put all the experience you have into a new direction as well. But at the beginning, probably make the shift when you realize you're on the wrong track, start there again and move on.
Okay, thank you. The other question coming in is, and I think you answered this already, but just to clarify, what importance do you give to cover letters? A lot of people have told this person that nobody reads them anymore. Is that a cultural thing, depending on the country or industry? What's your thoughts again on the cover letter?
As I mentioned, I said it to you. It shows a bit engagement. It shows a bit why you want to move, and especially if your resume doesn't correspond exactly to the job ad, you have to explain why you are moving into another thing, or why you have you gained some special. Yeah, you gained experience in something which is relevant for the new position, but it takes just too much time to explain it in the CV. So make and explain why you want to move it. And there is now your tour, Your Tour is another tool where you can just put in your CV. And I got also during the last recruitments, the more and more, I just got CVs handed in by Your Tour. And there I just see the CV. I have no clue why this person wants to go either to this company, to this position. It's just anonymous. And in the current timing, all those will fly out because nothing is unique.
Right. That sounds like good advice. So it sounds like your opinion is to have the cover letter, and it could help out. And you don't want to risk not having it in case somebody values that.
Mm-hmm.
Another question here about what should the job searcher be aware of in the age of the algorithmic recruiting process? You know, these AI robots searching through CVs,
Okay.
the interviews, any short tips for success there, navigating that?
Yeah, okay. I mean, the key elements are that, I mean, also at Credit Suisse, we always say, you know, or before in the headhunting, you will Boolean search. So that it needs, when there is an advertisement, the keywords need to be also in your cover letter, and they need to be in your CV. So they need to be matching as well as on LinkedIn, because it's machine learning. And there are tips and tricks. If you say, for example, I want to put in as many as possible keywords, you can do it, make your CV, put all the keywords in black and in white color. I mean, so that they don't see, you don't see it by eye, but the machine can go through it. So this is a way you can do it in your cover letter, you can do it in your CV, it's hidden, try it once. This is, it shouldn't be the case, but yeah, machines are sometimes not as, they're also a bit too stupid, and then they will find the words. And then the recruiter says, hey, but I don't see it in the CV, but he still popped up. So this is just a tip and trick.
Interesting. A white font. Okay.
White. Yes. It's not readable, but the machine sees it or can read it. Okay. This is another tip and trick. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a couple more here questions. Any advice for someone who's stepped out of a larger company to run an independent project for 5 years and want to go back to working in a collaborative environment, larger company, kind of re-entering the corporate world after an extended break?
Okay. Yes, in case it would be for me the same in case. Yeah, you don't have reference letters at that time, so you really have to ask clients if they can give you references, good performance. And it can be, it's logical. Sometimes you really say, hey, I miss a big team, I miss something, but then really put it back and say, hey, but I gained also a lot of experience during the time I was independent. But here definitely goes through your network. You have to address it a bit more straightforward, because there are always two things. Either you have to step out on your independency because you don't earn enough money, or you say, okay, I miss the team, or I mean, this market situation shows being independent can be quite delicate, because with the government, yeah, Switzerland is not really made for too many one or single person companies. You're not covered by, you pay all the social securities, but you don't get something. So this is just, don't hesitate to address the reason why you want to move out. And then HSG offers women back to work, but it also just back to work. But UBS has such programs. Credit Suisse does have, Schindler has them. Yeah, try it, but go through your network and note down the qualification you gained during the time you were probably out or you were independent. Yeah, and give a call also to a former colleague and say, hey, now I'm ready to go back to re-enter.
Okay, I think we got time for one more question. I think I may know your answer to this one, but I'll ask. Is it wise to negotiate salaries in the current climate, or is it just better to get your foot in the door first and be happy to have the opportunity?
It depends. If that's high with the compensation package, probably have to accept 20% lower compensation package. But I'm surprised. I had a couple of candidates over the last year. No, it's not just a couple of some. They all got higher increased compensation because they said, okay, this position fits to me. I have the qualification, and that's my value. And a company, when everything fits, the salary is just something add on. What I wouldn't do is put the salary topic at the beginning. For me as a recruiter, I turn it around and ask, what is your expectation? And then I see, okay, when I have a position, 430, 250 is just a too huge gap. But I need always to know what is fixed and what is bonus. And the bonus for me is, yeah, it can be vague. If you then have, it's really, you need to be objective enough for your resume, for your background, for your self-confidence. If you say, okay, I can't live 6 months without a job, I get nervous, and it is your personality, then probably you accept something earlier on. If you say, no, hey, I'm patient, doesn't matter, I have some savings, yeah, be realistic. It needs to fit to your person, to your background, because then you can be long-term successful. Otherwise, you have to look for a new job again in 3 months' time or 6 months' time, and then it gets worse if you have too many short, short experiences in one position or
Sure.
stays. Yeah.
Right, we're going to conclude our comments right now. We want to stick to our timeline. So thank you all for your strong interest and participation in today's presentation. We really value your feedback. So please complete the survey that's in the chat, or we also send the survey out via email. And please complete the survey because it really gives us good feedback for our presenters, but also for us in terms of how we can continue to improve and make these presentations most valuable. As I mentioned before, this presentation will be recorded and it's on the past events section, which will be available in the next few days. Thank you so much, Susanne, for sharing your thoughts and insights. If anyone has any further questions for you, you have your information on here, on LinkedIn, and they can contact you that way.